Well, g'day guys, welcome back to another episode. It is an absolutely gorgeous springtime day. The fishing has been tough though, but I figure I'd just show off a few things that I've done to the tinny. Some of them cost hundreds of dollars, some of them cost a few dollars, but they're all pretty cool, I reckon. So let's roll the intro and I'll give you a look around. Now, before I get going through this list, I will just make a disclaimer. I was sent this first item for free to give my thoughts on. I think a couple of the others I get a discount on from the legends down at Boss Outdoor, and the rest I've just paid full price for. But whether I've been given it free or a discount, it's in here because I think it is a good product, and I'm free to say whatever I like about all this gear. But without further ado, here is the first item. And before you go skipping through going, this a battery's pretty boring, just let me explain what this is and why I think it is a really good addition to a tinny. And before I forget, I'll just say the guys over at Lee Time have given me a discount code to give to you guys if you are interested in getting any one of their products. But what we have here is a 140 amp hour lithium battery. Now, why is that a good addition? Well, the battery I had before this to power my trolling motor was a 135 amp hour AGM battery, your classic lead acid. Why this is an upgrade is because this is half the weight for the same amount of battery power, but because the old one was an AGM, you can generally only use about 50% of those before their voltage starts dropping and your electronics won't work as they should. But in addition to that, lithiums have a BMS, which is a bit of a brains to the battery. And this one is a bit different to the rest. For one, it's got a Bluetooth app. Quite a few have that, but it is really handy for seeing the charge that you're at, the power draw and that kind of thing, making sure your battery's in good health, as well as you can actually turn the battery off if you're working on your electronics, scared of a shock or whatever. You can completely switch the battery off through the app, store it in long if you're going to leave it for a while, and then turn it back on whenever you want. In addition to that, this has a lot of safety things involved as well. So it won't accept charge if it's below 0 degrees, which is pretty important for lithiums. But as well as that, this actually has automatic self-heating. So if you go to plug this in and it realizes that it's too cold, it will instead use some of that power to heat the battery up to make it safe for charging. But wait, there's more. This is actually a dual purpose cranking as well as deep cycle battery. Most lithium batteries don't have the capacity to put out the high amperage to crank over a outboard motor. This one does. And we'll put up on the screen exactly how big a motor it can. I believe it's above 200 horsepower, which is awesome. But I will just mention, you do need to look into this instead of just ripping out your boat battery and putting one of these in. You do need to make sure that the lithium is going to behave well with your motor's outboard. So if you're considering swapping out your full boat battery for a lithium or for a Lee Time, contact the guys and they'll be able to help you out and make sure it's all going to work well together. But what I'm going to use it for, this is going to replace my old heavy as AGM battery to power my trolling motor and the rest of my electronics eventually, because I will show you another little product down in here that's going at the moment. And I will be able to use it to crank over my motor in case that battery dies. But there you go, the Lee Time 140 amp hour dual purpose battery, pretty damn good I reckon. Now, I forgot to mention one last thing while out in the boat, so you've caught me here at home, and that is that Lee Time currently has a competition going, the Go Electric competition, and that's running till the 17th of October. If you send in a pic of how you've electrified your fishing setup, using any one of their products, you'll go into a draw to win $20,000 worth of different prizes. That's US dollars as well, but we can enter here in Australia. I also just thought that I would very, very quickly show off my sneaky little 12-volt system that has started. Now, there's not much to show here, but the battery has worked marvelously over a weekend, pretty big weekend, of powering a fridge, powering a distribution hub for charging and all the lights and that around camp. But I'll go into a bit deeper dive of how I've set this up, because I'm pretty stoked with how it is. Nice and stealth, as you can see. But that'll be a story for another time. Let's get back to the Tinny mods. So let's go from the most expensive mod to the cheapest, but one I'm very happy with, and I came up with the idea myself. And that is my tackle storage right here against the step of the Tinny. And what I have here, this is just the curtain cord material for putting in bands and whatnot. So absolutely cheap as chips. Put a D-ring on this side, D-ring on the other, and you just get those hooks with your curtain material thingy. And that's what holds my tackle trays right there. Completely out of the way, but also very accessible. Right, we're back to talking about boat electronics, and this is a very handy little item for powering different things around the boat. Now, I will be wiring this up to my new lead time battery, but I'll show you what's powering it for the moment. But the thing I'm showing off is this right here. So this is the FPV Power distribution hub. What this is, there is a power in, and then it basically has 6 different channels of power going out to it. All of them are fused, which you do get a bunch of spare fuses in the packaging as well. So why is this so handy? Well, for one, A, B, C and D are actually on a switch, and you get this with it as well. So A and B, I actually have some LED strips running up both the gunnels, and that's really easy to do yourself. Just buy cheap LED strips, and then I just spliced the ends of it, which they were USB, spliced it into something, into this connection here, which you get spares of that as well. So you've got things on switches, you've also got ones that are permanently connected, and off that I have my fish finder. So it's just a very neat thing for keeping your electronics neat, or your wiring neat. Have things on a switch. Addition to that, I actually have, this is an FPV Power product as well. This is one of the newer additions, but this is a little USB outlet here, so I can charge up my drone batteries, charge my phone, and that's connected into the distribution hub as well. And I've got that one switched, so if I'm not using that, I can keep it off. If I'm charging something, I can turn it on. FPV Power distribution hub, I will mention, so this is powered off one of their smaller lithium batteries. I think they do a 7 amp hour. This is the 17.5 amp hour, and then there's a 50 amp hour. They work fantastic, but I've just had a couple of times where I thought that's going to be sweet to power my fish finder, and then it's run out of juice. So I'm just going to wire my lead time battery straight to that, and I will never have to worry about power again. Next up, just a couple things with my fish finder. First thing is the Burley Pro visor. So these are a pretty well-known product, but just keep the glare off your screen. Very nice. And the next thing is how I have my sounder mounted, and that is just using one of the ram balls onto the gunnel of the Tinny, an arm and a ram ball connecting the sounder. So why is that so good? Because you can do this. Turn it around. And that way when you're up in fishing position, you can turn around and check your depth, check your sounder, all the rest. Also, with having the sounder on a ram ball, means it is very easy to detach and also just swing out of the way like this. If I'm just going into the shop, so I'll just pop the sounder down so it's not loud and proud asking someone to nick it. But let's move on to the next thing, and that is this thing right here. And this is the Ram track rail. I'll put up the correct name on there on the screen there, but this is the Ram track rail system. So what is that for? That is for absolutely anything you want. The big one is rod holders, of course. That means you can use rod holders wherever you want that you've got track around the boat. These rod holders are pretty bloody useless, one direction. Whereas this, if you're trolling, you can have it out to the side. I've got a couple of different ones here. This is a Yak Attack rod holder. Super duper easy to move around, pull out. And then this over here, this is an actual Ram rod holder. Much sturdier than the Yak Attack. I wouldn't trust that with a big fish, but this one, that's locked in there ready. You can also get things like the camera poles and things like that. I haven't used the rail blazer ones, but that's what I will put in the description, just because you can get that from the legends down at Boss Outdoor. But same thing, track rail system you can put anywhere on your gunnel and put whatever you want on. Alright, this one is for the solo fishermen out there who have to wear a life jacket no matter where you're fishing. I don't like wearing these ones. Get in the way. They crunch up the audio on my GoPro, which is no good. And then I found this thing. This is a waist belt PFD. Super comfy to wear. You forget you're wearing it and it's out of the way. Fully legal for estuary environments. I'll put up whether it's legal for inshore here, but it is a level 100 flotation device. Just wear it around your belt, $100, beautiful. And up next is this handy thing right here, and this is a Railblazer tackle caddy, I do believe. This is just an excellent bit of storage. You can see all of the lures I've thrown today and not caught a fish on. Good place for your snips, pliers, and a nice little space here for your leaders, whatever you want, scents, glue, spare lures. Just a very neat way to keep those things close at hand but out of the way. That is the Railblazer tackle caddy. Also really good to hang your lures up instead of putting them back into the tackle box. If you do that, they're just going to rust up. So I leave all the lures I've used for the day out, and then when I get home to wash the boat, I'll also wash the lures, and that way they're not going to rust. Okay, got one more item for you guys. This isn't it, but these roll-out measure boards, they are fantastic. Bit of work getting them out, rolling them up every single time. So what I like to have is this. This is a Hobie measure board. Nice and solid, nice scallop to it, fish fit in there. If you just want to get a quick measure on those smaller fish, because this does only go up to 75, so perfect if you're just looking for those keeper flathead. This is really good. No need to roll out. Slots away perfectly down here. There you go. I think that's a pretty good product. And I don't even know how many that was, but there you go. That has been some Tinny hacks, some Tinny mods. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.